anyone who wants to fight Zulu Boy, I'm ready. I'm gonna be a champion soon.
Zulu Boy, one of the most feared strikers worldwide.
Who here would want to see me fight for the belt? Give me the opportunity and watch me shine.
Troublemaker, he wants a title shot.
On Saturday, 10 August, Nkazimulo Zulu takes on Faeez Jacobs for the interim EFC Bantamweight Championship.
Big shots. Nkazimulo Zulu is so accurate with his hands. Ladies and gentlemen, Zulu Boy, the Troublemaker, does it again. Faeez Jacobs, he wants that title shot.
Now it's time to play. This is Troublemaker's world.
Good day and welcome to another episode of the Couch Coach. If you're wondering what happened to the studio, we're offsite today at the Fighters Inc. MMA and Wellness Academy. We have Ishmael, one of the members of the gym, fighter. Oh, coach, sorry. And then we have the head coach here, Fidaah. Welcome. And Troublemaker Faeez Jacobs, the new Bantamweight Champion. Welcome to the show, guys, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Fidaah, if we can start with you.
Yes.
Tell us about your gym here.
Yes. The gym we started about 5-6 years ago. It was initially an intervention just for youth to keep them off the streets. I worked for the NGO prior, and then the youth, they loved martial arts, kickboxing. And then I started in my garage, and then they said, Fidaah, we want our own equipment. So I said, okay, we have to have a fundraiser. So we had a fundraiser boot camp. It was summertime, we had a nice boot camp, a nice crowd, and then we trained on the field, and then they were hanging a tree on a bag on the tree, and then they all said, Fidaah, we're going to fight. So I said, okay, let's see, let's interview, we train you kickboxing, we get affiliated to SA Kickboxing, and then from there we raised funds for the basic kit for them, and then they all fought and all won. And then they told me, Fidaah, can we do this as a job? So I said, as a career, you could. And then I thought about, okay, and now we're going to become a real gym. And then we first set up in Kenilworth, where we rented a few hours with another martial arts gym over there. So it wasn't full-time yet. And then from there we just grew, we grew. And Faeez joined from Kenilworth. And then we grew, and until now, five years down the line, we're at our own gym in Ottery. It's a full-fledged MMA gym, and now we have professional boxers, professional kickboxers, professional MMA fighters, as well as still development of youth and amateur level.
Awesome. Ishmael, you came through the ranks, if I got the story right.
Yeah.
Tell us your journey with the gym.
Well, my journey with Fidaah has been quite long. I think I'm now 5 years now with him, but just not started when it started. When I started first, I was just like a normal kid. I didn't know how the world works, and I was just joining to bad guys and bad groups. Kind of get your nonsense, such as drugs and stuff like that. I didn't see the future in it. I need some change, so I had a friend of mine who started gym with Fidaah, and I was like, hey, but I always watch this on TV. I always want to try this out. I always want to do this. And I said, hey, I can take you to this guy. My coach, his name is Fidaah. I'm like, really? Okay. I want to see this guy. And then it's okay. Meet me on this day. And then I met the guy, and then we went to this guy, and then like, okay, so are you Ishmael? I said, I heard about you. I said, you want to join my gym? And I'm like, yeah. And like, okay, but I need to see this for workers only. I don't want you to waste my time. I'm like, no, trust me, I'm down for this, and I would do anything. And I said, but I want to either become a kickboxer or a coach, and everyone would laugh about it, like, hey, kidding. And
because you were small, much smaller that time.
I was small, and I was chubby, and I was just funny of the more. And I'm like, okay, guys, I'll prove you guys wrong. And turned out to be that. Oh, and competed some, I think, for 3 fights, and yeah, and didn't go well, and then
you went okay.
Down, and, I made it up to coaching, and now I train the fighters, and take the personal trainers as well, and yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. In his when he came to me, of course, he was a kid. He loved martial arts, and that was his main purpose or reason for coming. He didn't want to be in the area. He comes from Athlone. There's a lot of drug addicts in the area and bad influences. So I said, no, come. You can come show about the gym. And then watching him, he had a few fights, he fought well, and then, but he had so much patience in teaching somebody something. So if he would learn something, then he would like actually have patience to show someone step by step, this is how you do it, this is how you do it.
Awesome.
So I picked up, no, he's going to be a good coach. He has a lot of patience. And his ability to teach step by step. I'm like, no, you have patience, you have understanding of the steps of a martial art technique, you will be a very good coach. And then I gave him a chance and he excelled. And now he's still a coach. He can coach almost any class, and he specializes in kids class as well.
Nice.
Which I lack in. I don't have that patience.
That takes a special kind of someone for that.
Exactly. I get a bit frustrated, but he deals well with the kids on their level, so yeah.
And then we have a guy holding a very, very, very heavy belt. Troublemaker. Firstly, Troublemaker. Tell us how that started.
Okay, so I was quite a troublemaker. In high school, I went through a little bit of a rough patch. I was dealing with a lot of anger. I was bullied quite a bit, and I was sick of it. And I didn't want to be that guy anymore. I didn't want to be the victim. I didn't want to have that mentality. So I became the very opposite. I became a bully. I became someone that would stir up trouble. I became the worst of them. And the principal called me into his office and he was like, you're such a troublemaker. I don't know how to give you any more chances. And so I got expelled from high school. And I decided on that day that Troublemaker was going to mean something different. That Troublemaker was no longer going to be something negative. I was going to transform the name into something positive. So Troublemaker now means, never mind your circumstances. Never mind everything you have to go through. All the trials and tribulations, that you are worthy, that you choose to believe in yourself. Essentially, and Fidaah quoted this, Troublemaker means to rise above it all.
Nice. Awesome. And the Troublemaker is now a Bantamweight Champion. That must have been some hell of a hard work there.
The journey to becoming the Bantamweight Champion of the world, there was a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of difficulties, but I stuck through with belief. I made sure that regardless of anything, I saw the picture very clearly. We saw the picture very clearly. And no matter what day I needed to work on, no matter how hard the circumstances, no matter what trials and tribulations we faced, there was times where there was no opportunities, and we made opportunities. And slowly but surely, the name Troublemaker started meaning something. And to me now, something that I'm really honored about is that it's not only I'm not just another fighter going out there to fight. I'm fighting for something, and that gives me a lot of honor. And becoming a champion was not about getting something, not all the things that you receive, but rather who you become.
Who you become.
And I've had a week to process it now, and I feel like that has been the greatest gift that I've gotten through martial arts, is who I've become because of it.
Awesome. That's an awesome story. Please give us a few moments here. We got to pay some bills. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to the Couch Coach, and we find ourselves here at Fighters Inc. MMA and Wellness Academy out in Ottery. So before the break, Faeez was telling us about his amazing journey to becoming the Bantamweight Champion.
Yeah.
For you as his coach and coming out of your gym, it must also be something really special.
Yes, I'm super elated, super proud of him as a fighter, and at the same time we're not surprised about it. We set the goal, we set this goal when you started in EFC. We said, we believe in God, believe in yourself, never doubt. And whatever anybody else has, whatever abilities, whatever they can achieve, you can achieve it as well. It's all about self-belief. I'm a mental coach as well, life coach as well. So I've been working on that for 5 years from the start. And the belief, the conviction of that belief is what's going to drive you to think, talk, act, eat like a champion every single day. And when that happens, that is a normal thing that's going to happen, not something that is out of the ordinary. So in terms of that, we set that goal 2 years ago. And then when you started in the EFC, there's some people fighting there for like 5 years, 4 years, and they didn't become a champion yet. We said when you started, we have a goal now. We are in Pro MMA 2 years. He told me 3 years, and now it's 2.5 years. So we set the goal, we draw up the plan, and then we work the plan. And we don't doubt in that regard. And we believe that we're going to achieve it. And it's that belief, that mindset of that belief and conviction that will get you, that will help you achieve anything you set your heart and mind to.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Awesome. And I mean, getting into the ring, I believe it was Zulu that you fought.
Yeah.
And he has quite a reputation for hurting people. What was going through your mind? And how do you prepare for that?
To me, I'm someone that goes in there. My philosophy is that I'm fighting for a reason, and when I'm fighting and I'm in the ring, I'm following my purpose that God set out for me. And because of that, I'm comfortable with dying in that ring. I walk in there with a mental okayness that I'm willing to go through whatever I need to go through in there. I'm going to experience pain, I'm going to experience discomfort, that I'm going to get into a fight, and I'm going to fight to the best of my ability. He's going to fight to the best of his ability, and regardless of anything, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be the best Faeez that I can possibly be on that day, and I'm going to give it my all. So he had quite a reputation, but I feel like people I've got a reputation too. And I was determined to be my best self on the night. And I knew as long as I showed up like that I had nothing to fear, I had nothing to worry about.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I mean, you say you're going to feel a lot of discomfort and you're preparing yourself for that. I mean, how long is your training regime for a fight like that? What's your diet like? What does training look like?
It varies quite a bit actually. Usually I train all year round. That's what I do. It's my job. I love it. I'm happy to do it week in, week out. So
it's become a lifestyle.
It's my lifestyle.
Yeah.
Training. So when it comes to preparing for a fight, it becomes more focused. But essentially, there's a lot of guys that was dodging me, actually fighting me. So I'll have to take last minute fights. I'd have to take 2-week notice fights, 14 days notice fights, 24-hour notice fights.
Sure.
But essentially, you'd like a month or two. More 2 months. I feel like I'm training all the time. I'm ready. But to polish through the game plan and work everything you really want to work, because it's mixed martial arts. So that means you need to train your jiu-jitsu, you need to train your wrestling, and you need to train your striking. And I've got a coach for each. So Fidaah's my head coach. Then I've got Coach Hayden, my wrestling coach from Cape Town Wrestling Academy. Then I've got Jock Botelli from Fight for Foot Alliance in town. So they need to run me through the game plan, so we need to assess his strengths and his weaknesses. What he's most likely to fall trap into, and what he could potentially threaten me with on all levels. So,
Sheesh.
so defense and attack.
So it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hard work.
But Fidaah, how do you prepare an athlete for that mental aspect that, you know what, you're going to go in there with a game plan, and sometimes these plans, as well as you prepare, something
Doesn't go.
changes.
Yes. That is why. Yeah. I say that's why I said we worked on the mental aspect of it, performance coaching, peak performance coaching with Faeez from the start already. So we've been through other championship fights as well for other belts. We've been through it throughout the 5 years of us doing it already. We have certain mental practices, certain success habits that we go over as well. I know how to work with him and get him into his zone. I know what to do to get him into his peak state. So basically, he's relived this championship fight already hundreds of times in his mind already. We know what to expect in terms of the potential pressure of the day as well, and then we work around that with the mental training as well. So we know it's a bantamweight title fight of the world. It's a lot of media attention on it. It's so called from a big gym, from a well-known gym with a well-known trainer, whatever the case might be. To top it off, they like to come in as a group, that gym. Then they're like a big group, and they try to like intimidate you, whatever. So every aspect of that we prepared for. And then we're done. Then we're taking everything into account. We done our best at that moment, on that day, in that time, round for round, and that's all you can do. The power of now. So what can you do now that's going to actually give you success in your ultimate goal or achievement for that moment? So yeah, it's a bit of an inside secret to mental coaching.
And very quickly, before we need to go on a break again, I mean, Thomas, I'm enjoying this, yeah. But Faeez, in terms of what's next for you?
I'm gonna keep pushing, and I'm gonna keep doing what I do every day. And you know, people think that it's only the fighting that happens, but in between those things, life happens also. So you need to kind of conquer your adversity right through life and through the training and through all of that to make it to the highest levels. And to me, that I dreamt this goal since I was 16 years old. I said I'm going to be fighting in the UFC, and I'm going to push until I become the champion of the world. So my goal is to become the #1 MMA fighter on the planet.
Awesome.
And the UFC is the goal next. So I'll probably end up defending a couple times, and then from there on out, I want to go and compete against the best martial artists in the world.
So unfortunately, we've run out of time this week, but we're all going to carry on with this conversation in next week's episode. But don't forget, after the break, we have that bald-headed ref giving us the laws of rugby in the hopes that you don't scull the ref. Check back soon. Welcome back to the Couch Coach. After that amazing segment with Troublemaker Faeez Jacobs, we welcome back our bald-headed ref, Zyda Polis. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you.
So, let's jump right into it. What do you have for us today? What's school all about today?
Yeah, we're going to go into a simple law. Almost
Is it always simple?
It's law. However, it happens so often, so it's quite important to know what it entails. It's the knock-on. Those butterfingers. And it's never my fault. That's always the player's response.
It was wet, Mr. Ref.
Yeah, must be the grass. So it's the knock-on or the throw forward. Pass forward type of thing. So firstly, a knock-on can occur anywhere in the playing field. Playing area rather. So anywhere on the field.
Even behind the try line.
Even behind your try line. Yeah, there was one last year, I think, at the funny incident quickly, at the on the 7th circuit. And the guy went through and he was behind the poles and he opted to turn around and, hand a ball to his colleague or fellow player. However, the fellow player was standing in front of him, and yeah, so it was a forward pass. Yeah, so just quickly, a definition in terms of a knock-on is when a player in the motion of tackling or attempting to tackle an opponent, it makes contact with the ball, he makes contact with the ball, and the ball goes forward. Okay, so the sanction there, you as the referee, you need to award the scrum to the opposing team, unless if it's a knock-on and the ball goes over the touchline, you know the
Yeah.
So there you would give the opposing team an option. So it's either scrum or the line out.
Okay.
So one of the two. So the captain has the option there. So quickly, a player must not intentionally knock the ball forward with your hand or your arm. If
So
that does
that
happen,
counts
yeah,
for
you know
the-
that.
yeah.
You always see the referee do that, and often it happens when you know they're about to score a try. So the sanction there by the referee would be a penalty against the offending player. If it is not an intentional knock-on, in the act of trying to catch the ball, the player knocks.
The intercept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that thing. The player knocks on provided there was a reasonable expectation, you know, that
No.
he attempted to gain possession of the ball. The ball is not knocked on if a player knocks the ball forward immediately after opponent has kicked it, you know, a charge down.
Charge down,
So I'm jumping
yeah.
up and ball touches my hand, that is a charge down. So
Usually the tall guys that get that one right.
yeah, the odd occasion it will be the shorter guys, but more your tall guys. Okay. And then also a player when he attempts to rip the ball. So you will hear, I try and grab the ball from the opponent's grasp and I rip it. You'll often see the referee does that and he shouts rip.
Yeah.
Okay. That means that he attempted, there wasn't a knock-on, so play goes on. Even if the ball goes forward from that action, play goes on. Okay.
Sorry. So that you'll find usually like in a ruck and maul situation.
Yeah, in contact. Let's
In
say
con- in
contact
contact,
rather.
yeah.
Yeah. So in a contact situation, ball carrier runs to me, and I, in the momentum, I
Yeah.
try to gain position, and I rip it. Goes forward. It's considered a rip,
A rip,
and
yeah.
that play goes
Play
on.
goes on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. So that's the knock-on, and then a throw forward. A throw forward can occur anywhere, in the playing area. Often that, and after time, they'll say they never went forward, Mr. Ref. So the sanction there, it's a scrum
Yeah.
to the opposing team. However, he mustn't intentionally throw it forward. If it's intentional, the sanction there would be a penalty. Yeah, and that's about wraps up the knock-on and the throw forwards.
Okay, we still got a little bit of time, so
Yeah.
if I can ask a question here.
Yes,
So
fine.
that forward pass,
Yes.
if you can touch it,
Yes.
on it, right? You often hear the direction of the hand.
Yes. So referees are trained, and World Rugby, I think recently there was one of those, I can't get to which team it was. However, referees are trained
I
to
think
look
there
at
was a
the
couple of
direction
teams.
of the hand. Yeah. So you as the person passing the ball, passer, if you can term him that, you look if it's in a backward direction or action, then it goes on. Because of momentum, and your speed that you're running, it's all scientific theory. They say the wrestling
Last
and
week was
rugby.
math, and now you're bringing in science.
It's not easy. So you look at the direction, and because of momentum, the ball might look as if the ball's going forward, but because of the momentum taking place.
Okay, so we still got a bit of time here, so I want to check in another question.
Oh.
And if I can take you back to last week, we
Yes.
spoke about the penalty.
Yes.
Very quickly. So an infringement occurs,
Yes.
and the ref calls advantage.
Yes.
At what point do you come back now? Okay, nothing's happened, because sometimes that when the ref shouts advantage,
Yeah.
it's a very short period, and other times it's such a long.
Yeah,
stint
remember
before.
you as the player. So firstly, one of the main laws and rules, if you refer to the law book, the referee is the sole judge of time and fact.
Okay.
So the referee often will determine to see if you've gained a advantage that can either be in space or time. Okay. So, but you ultimately have the option. So sometimes you would get players, they pass sideways but not go forward. You had the option to go forward, or you kick the ball away.
Yeah.
And just as that happens, the referee shouts advantage over. There's nothing unfortunately you can do, because the referee deemed that you've gained some form of advantage from that.
Okay, so there's no real set rule to say that.
No, yeah. I mean, from some occasions they might differ. You have 5 meters, you gain, the referee shows the advantage over, whereas the next play, the same player or the same situation, player will go 10 meters and he would say, oh, no advantage, let's come back. So he will determine based on the situation and the merit at the time.
That just leaves open the door for scrutiny from the couch coach.
Yes, yes, but that's why we're here.
But that's why we're here. Yeah. That's why we're here. Again, Mr. Ref, I thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you next week. For the viewers out there, tune in next week. We'll catch you on another edition of The Couch Coach. I'm your host, Faeez Jacobs, and the ref, Saeed Apollos. Thank you so much for watching.